Hello, this is Roy Gillis. When we come back, we're going to get a chance to sit down and talk to a Waco native, now one of the on-air hosts for the Dallas Cowboys.
Hello and welcome to Centex Sports Talk. I am your host, Jalen Gillis, and I'm here with my co-host, Roy Gillis. And we have a very special guest today, a longtime friend of mine, high school friend, even all the way up to UNT, and now he's doing bigger things now, working for the Cowboys. Good friend Kyle Youmans coming in. Kyle, what's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. It is crazy. We've known each other forever now. I mean, it's back to like the middle school days of playing the band, and then like you said, going up to UNT. Yeah, we've been knowing each other and friends for a long time.
Yeah. We got a long time friendship going right now, and now, like I said, you've moved on and now are working for the Dallas Cowboys, man. Tell me a little bit about that.
You know, it's really crazy because just from being friends with me, I mean, I've always loved sports. So you and I have had countless sports conversations when it comes to the NBA, the NFL, even a little bit of baseball. Like, we always had those conversations. So, I mean, naturally what I wanted to do was kind of get involved in sports and find a way to make a career out of it. And that's ultimately what ended up happening. I went to UNT and graduated with a bachelor's in converged broadcast media. Just try to get any kind of experience that I could throughout my time up in Denton, which I loved, and then really got involved in high school football. And some of that high school football led to an opening with the Cowboys. And at that point, it was basically just taking advantage of whatever opportunity I could on air, and things have just really taken off. I'm extremely blessed for that, and it's been a blast, and it's something that I never really saw coming. I mean, it's a dream come true every day, man. It really is. It's a ton of fun.
Kyle, what an interesting beginning to your journey. How do you go from Waco, Texas, little small town, and what really kind of gave you the drive to? Because it's one thing to have a dream.
Yeah.
That's everybody should have a dream, but to be kind of walking in it, how do you even get the drive to do that, man? Coming from the cold.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, that's the thing, is I love Waco. Centex is always going to be a special part of my heart and my journey really to that point. But it really started with my dad. I mean, my dad's always been a real big sports fan. Same thing with my mom. I guess both my parents have been huge sports fans. And They love college football. They love the Texas Rangers. And they've always loved just kind of sitting down, chilling, and watching sports. I mean, whenever we were growing up, I wasn't into like the card games, and I wasn't into anything really that normal kids. I guess Hot Wheels was probably the other thing. Legos and building blocks. I had little NASCAR race cars, and I had baseball cards. Like those were the things I loved. I just grew up around sports and wanting to be in sports, and then ultimately started playing it. Played baseball all the way through high school. Played football for a little bit, and just loved competing and loved working hard and getting into it. I was never the athlete that I needed to be. My sister got all the athletic talent. She's now at North Texas playing volleyball, so she got all the athletic talent. I didn't get any of that, so I was like, man, I'm not an athlete, or at least I'm not a top level athlete, but I wanted to continue being involved in sports and being around sports. And so I just really worked hard at it. I learned a lot about my work ethic from my dad, who always has worked really hard and has told us to follow our dreams. And so I did just that coming out of school. So I think the work ethic and just the passion that I have for it combined, it made it really easy to get into the business and really kind of give it my all. And that's what I do on a daily basis.
Yeah, and like you said, you're really kind of getting to walk into that dream now and really doing it. And now, since you're there, and we have, in Central Texas, how many Cowboys fans are? I mean, I feel like almost everybody here is a Cowboys fan, and I'm a Texans fan myself. But tell us a little bit about the Cowboys and kind of what you've seen from them so far this season, and just like it's only been 3 games, and it's kind of been up and down so far. But I want to kind of hear maybe a little bit of an inside scoop on what do you think how their season is going so far.
Yeah, I think if you would talk to most Cowboys fans, it would be kind of the same echoing sentiment that Texans fans are talking about right now. It hasn't really been a whole lot of up and down, it's been a whole lot of down, and there's a lot of question marks when it comes to the Cowboys team right now. But I think whenever
Yeah.
you look at the roster makeup and you look at the fact of so many guys being hurt and in key positions too, whenever you talk about the offensive line, both tackles being out for multiple games now, and then you also move on to the fact of having a couple corners out whenever you're playing guys like Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf and Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods. You've played these fantastic quarterbacks as well, and you're doing it without really half your secondary right now. And so I think overall there's a lot of optimism around the fact that if this team were to be healthy, they have a roster that's good enough to contend, that's good enough to make a little bit of a run, especially with a brand new head coach in Mike McCarthy. But there's a lot of pessimism right now whenever it comes to the point of, are we going to get to that point? Are we going to get to the point where Lyle Collins, the right tackle, is going to be healthy and ready to go? Is Tyron Smith going to be the same Tyron Smith that we're used to seeing? I think there's a lot of question marks around both of those guys. I think there's question marks around the play calling right now, which I think is still kind of falling into its own as well. I mean, this is a whole new coaching staff, and without a preseason and without really an entire offseason, it makes things tough to figure out whenever you're just going straight into the year. They needed a preseason too as a coaching staff, and they didn't get it. So I think there's going to be a learning curve.
Kyle, I wanted to ask you, and I'm really interested in your journey so far, because I like to see anybody from Waco be able to kind of move forward. So, two questions. One, what do you do for the Cowboys? And if you were talking to somebody that was back here in Central Texas that loves sports and wants to be involved in somehow, what would you tell them that they needed to do?
Yeah, so my position with the Cowboys now is on-air host for the radio and the TV side of things, and I also contribute to the website as well. So I've got a couple articles up right now. I make videos almost every day in studio on the TV side, and then I host a couple podcasts. One is Talking Cowboys, which is one of the top Cowboys podcasts on the market right now, and then the other is The Draft Show, which is one of the top sports podcasts really on the market, and we've been extremely blessed and successful throughout the times before me, and then I've just gotten a chance to come in and take over and keep the ship right. So I had the easy gig in terms of just hopping in and working with fantastic people. But for anybody that's really passionate in sports and wanting to get into sports, it doesn't matter where you're from. What really matters is your work ethic and your passion. And I said both of those things earlier, but that's really what I believe in, because if you work hard and you treat people the right way, you're going to get to where you want to be. There's a lot of people in this business, and I'm not ever going to say names because it changes honestly on a day-to-day basis, where you kind of start feeling yourself a little bit. You don't want to necessarily treat people the right way. This is a people business more than anything. It's relaying to your fans. It's relaying to the people that are supporting your team, not necessarily supporting you. You're going to have that support group around you, but you've got to be able to have kind of that down-to-earth mentality whenever you are having these conversations and being interactive and being able to treat people the right way who are working with you. I mean, all the people that are behind the scenes whenever you're an on-air talent are just as important, if not more important, just to get you on the air. If there's nobody behind the scenes, then you're not on the air. And so that's one thing that's always been told to. My dad said at one point throughout my childhood was to treat rock stars like regular people and treat regular people like rock stars.
That's good advice.
I've always really liked it, especially in a business like this where you are around guys like Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott and Amari Cooper on a day-to-day basis. They don't want to be treated like superstars. You want to treat them like regular people. But, man, all those other people that are around you on a day-to-day basis, treat them like rock stars and things will go your way.
Yeah, awesome. I think that's, like you said, like really, really great advice, treating the regular people like rock stars. And just to see how, like you said, we've known each other for years now, how you've been able to elevate into the business that you're in now is really inspiring and really helps, people just like us. We're starting things up down here in Waco and trying to do some different things down here. So it's been, like I said, been really encouraging. And when you were talking, you talked a little bit about, like you said, knowing people, you're around people like Dak and Zeke and all of that. So while we're talking about that, want to kind of transition a little bit into talking about the offense. Like you said, there's been a lot of downs for them, but the offense has had a lot of ups. Dak is putting up incredible numbers himself, and I think the offense with Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator has been doing some good things. They've had some mishaps here and there, but they've been doing some pretty good things. Tell us a little bit about what you think the offense has been doing and what you think they can kind of do just a little bit, maybe to get them over that edge and over that hump.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little disappointing in that Los Angeles game whenever you put up 17 points, but it really wasn't indicative of what the offense was able to do that game as well. I mean, you were going up against Aaron Donald with a hurt offensive line. Those are two things that don't really mix together because Aaron Donald is a man amongst boys, even in the NFL. And so that was kind of a disappointing start. Same thing with the Atlanta side. I mean, that was disappointing through the first three quarters. And then you found a rhythm. You started to see the adjustment in play calling that Kellen Moore had, where he was able to kind of turn the table and make these different play calls that allowed him to free up Dak Prescott, even with both of the offensive tackles getting berated by guys like Tack McKinley and Grady Jarrett on that defensive line. He was able to give him more time by throwing the slant routes and finding a little bit of the screenplay and giving the ball to Ezekiel Elliott and letting him do some work. It took a little bit of time, but I think that adjustment was made. And then you saw it again against Seattle. Seattle's not a shabby defense by any means, but you still put up an ungodly amount of yards against Seattle, even in the loss, and you still put up 31 points as well. I mean, it was really a fantastic outing from Dak Prescott. He's continuing to grow into his own. And much like kind of relaying it back to our back and forth conversation here, but whenever you're talking about the growth and the journey of being in sports media, reps are so important. Well, this offense is getting some reps right now for Kellen Moore and for all of these younger guys that are starting to come into their own and find a little bit of a rhythm. And you're starting to see that. I think this is one of the best offenses in the NFL, if not the best offense in the NFL. It just takes a little bit of time to get into that rhythm. And once they find it, I think they're going to be scary.
We're here talking live with Kyle Youmans, Dallas Cowboys Sports Talk. Cal, you've got some insight into Waco. All right. So Waco and Central Texas sports. Yeah. I know that in Dallas, sports is huge, but in Waco, we have an emerging sports market as well. Baylor, they finally got to put a game up, and you've seen their you grew up here, so you've seen their transition. I remember when, I can say with Baylor, I remember when you couldn't give tickets away, but all of that's changed now. Do you get a chance to kind of keep up with Baylor? You went to Midway. That district is I wrote an article some months back, and I said that this may be one of the toughest districts, not only in Texas, but in the country. That district that includes Duncanville and Cedar Hill and those powerhouses in DeSoto.
Unbelievable, the district that they're in.
Did you get a chance to keep up with Central Texas sports? And what do you think about our sports scene now?
Absolutely. I keep up with Central Texas sports, and I'll always be a huge Baylor fan as well. I mean, I grew up around Baylor. My dad works for the athletic department a little bit there and does some sideline security and stuff. And so I'll always keep up with Baylor. Tristan Ebner was doing some great stuff in that season opener as well, just going on the board and kicking down Kansas after really the rest of the Big 12 struggled was encouraging because whenever the Big 12 struggling the way that they were, you need Baylor to have that uptick. But I really think Dave Aranda's doing a great job down there. He'll continue what Matt Rule was able to build over the last couple of years. It might take a little bit. They're not going to be back to the Sugar Bowl like they were last year. It'll take a little bit of time, but be patient with them because I think Aranda's a fantastic coach, and he's gonna prove to make things meet whenever the rubber hits the road. As far as Midway, though, like you said, my goodness, that district is fantastic. And it's exciting because if you're a football fan, you're going to get to see some of the best teams in the state. Whenever you get to see a Duncanville and a Cedar Hill and a DeSoto, Mansfield, Lake Ridge, all of these different schools, and they get to come to you once this year, and if they don't come this year, they're going to come next year.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see these teams come to Waco, and it's not the normal Belton High and Colleen Ellison and Colleen Shoemaker, where you're really kind of the dominant force in the Central Texas sports marketplace. If you're the Midway Panthers, you're going to have to fight not only to win games, but to make it to the playoffs. So you're going to have to find a way to get that third or fourth seed against some of the best competition in the state. And you mentioned it's one of the best districts in the state. I completely agree. I think it's not only that, it might be the best district in the history of Texas high school football. If you look across the board, top to bottom, there's not an easy game. It really isn't. Even the bottom level games are going to be tough for the Panthers to win. And I think it's going to be a huge test for Coach Youmans company. And I think they're up to the challenge, but it's going to be exciting to see, especially in a crazy year like this one.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. So, Kyle, before we let you go out of here, like I said, we've known each other for years. As long as I've known you, you have definitely been a baseball fan. So, seeing how how baseball has just kicked off their playoffs here today, I got to try to get a World Series prediction out of you. You can pick a winner. You don't have to pick a winner. But who are the two teams? I know it's a very small sample size to work from with the condensed season. But who are the two teams that you can see getting in to that spot into the World Series?
Yeah, and it's crazy because it's the most unpredictable year of postseason baseball you're ever going to see because it was a game sample size and because you don't really know how things are going to turn out. Especially look at just the wild ending to the season for the National League, where it was just a jumble of teams, and you didn't know until the last 2 or 3 days who was going to make it and who was going to be fourth out from making the MLB postseason. Yeah. I think if you had to nail me down to two teams, I think the Dodgers absolutely still have that fantastic lineup and some of the best pitching, I think, in all of baseball. I think they'll make a little bit of a run for it again. Mookie Betts has been fantastic, and he's somebody that I think you can rely on. And then on the American League side, I think it's a little bit more wide open. I was originally going to say the Twins, but then they lost to the Astros today, and they've lost 17 straight postseason games. And so I don't think they're going to go for the Twins there. I might – oh, man, that's tough. I really – and I hate saying this, but I think the Yankees might be the best team.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
And I hate that. I really do. I'm a Rangers fan, and I always have been. Man, I grew up hating the Yankees, and I still don't like the Yankees. But I think they're the best team. Watch out for the Athletics, though. They're sneaky good.
Yeah.
Watch out for the Oakland A's. I think they're going to have a little bit of a run here. They've got some sneaky good pitching, and the White Sox are probably in that category as well. Unfortunately, those two teams playing each other to start things out. I think they're going to kind of beat each other up back and forth. That series might go the full distance before we finally decide a winner. But I think those are two really sneaky good teams.
Cal, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and checking in on one of your old friends, Mr. Jalen Gillis, the voice of the McLennan Community College Highlanders.
Hey, rolling too. Hey, that's some great sports down there, man. A lot of great athletics, and I respect what MCC does. I respect what you guys do. It's my pleasure. Anytime you guys need me, let me know.
All right. You're watching Centex Sports Talk. I want to thank Kyle for coming by, Dallas Cowboys on air host. Thank you so much. Make sure, Kyle, how do they find you on Twitter and all of that?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Kyle, Kyle_Youmans, Youmans, Kyle_Youmans. You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram. I'm on Facebook as well. Hit me up. Shoot me whatever questions you've got. I love interacting with the fans and love kind of just having that sports conversation like Jalen and I used to do back in the day at Midway High School, man. I love having that debate and that conversation. That's what I live for.
All right. We'll be right back after this. RNS Barbecue, Waco's #1 barbecue destination. Whether it's their mouth-watering brisket, their fall-off-the-bone ribs, or their homemade chili beans, come by RNS Barbecue. For your next event, let them cater it. Call Richard or Sharon over at 254-420-9500. RNS Barbecue, Waco's #1 barbecue destination. 1101 Richland Drive, right off Valley Mills. Stop by
R&S Barbecue.
Hey, we want to thank Kyle Youmans for stopping by and speaking with us. Great story of a young man that has moved up the chain, Jalen, in journalism, and you've known him for a long time.
Yeah, I've definitely known him probably about 10 plus years now, maybe about 10 years. So I've known him for a long time, and he's, like I said, we've always had a lot of sports talk, a lot of sports interaction back and forth. So seeing him be able to elevate and go do that was really good, and being able to get some Cowboys inside stuff as well was pretty cool as well.
All right. We want to thank you for tuning in to just a little small edition of Centex Sports Talk. Again, we always want to thank our sponsors, Natalia Alexander of the Keller Williams Group and Royalty Real Estate Solutions. And we also want to thank R&S Barbecue, the best barbecue in Waco, Texas. Go by and check them out. We want to see you the next time. Always catch us on the website, centexsportsnetwork.com. You can find us on Twitter at Centex Sports?
Yeah, Centex Sports.
At Centex Sports. And we're starting to put up a little YouTube content. And so just follow the page. If you're watching on the website, go get some of that merch that's on there. Centex Ballers. Go get you some of that merch. This is Roy Gillis and Jalen Gillis signing out, and we will see you the next time.